you ever wondered why European Portuguese, when spoken, is so difficult to understand? The Portuguese drop and swallow sounds and words all over the place, which makes it really difficult for people like you to be able to understand what's being said. In this video, I'm going to talk about why that is and some of the most common examples of where it can happen so you can finally start to understand native speakers in Portugal. If this sounds like a lesson that you need today, give me a thumbs up. And if you are new, bem-vindo ao canal. If we haven't met yet, my name is Liz. I'm a Portuguese teacher in Portugal and I'm obsessed with helping people who are moving to Portugal build their confidence and conversation skills in Portuguese. So if you want more tips and tutorials like this, it is super easy and free to click subscribe right now. And the bell. The bell is important. So let's take a look at some common phrases and how they sound when a native speaker in Portugal says them. For example, como é que te chamas? What is your name? Como é que te chamas? That's what it would sound like if we accented every single syllable in that sentence. However, when a native person says this, it will sound more like this. Como é que te chamas? Como é que te chamas? They are only stressing the é at the first part of chamas, and all of the other sounds are becoming reduced and much harder to hear. So let's compare how that would sound in Spanish. The same question, what is your name, is ¿Cómo te llamas? Now if that's said fast by a native speaker, it would sound like this. ¿Cómo te llamas? Pretty much the same, right? That's because in Spanish, people will enunciate and stress every syllable in the sentence because they're more or less the same length. You'll be able to hear all of the syllables. So the major reason why the Portuguese sound like they are dropping off sounds all over the place is because Portuguese is a stress-timed language. This means that we stress syllables at regular intervals and we gobble up and swallow the rest of the sounds, just like we do in English. In contrast, Spanish is a syllable-timed language. This means that they will stress all of the syllables which are more or less the same length. So no sounds get reduced and they're easier to hear. This is why you might also find Brazilian Portuguese easier to understand, because on the spectrum of stress-timed versus syllable-timed, it's closer to a syllable-timed language when it's spoken steadily. Is this blowing your mind a little bit? Give me a yes in the comments if it is. So let's take a look at a few more sentences that should help you start to detect where these reduced sounds are and what's missing, so you can find out what the missing words are. So for example, hoje o tempo está bom. Hoje o tempo está bom. So you can see there that we weren't stressing every single syllable there, we were stressing at regular intervals. So because the word está is not stressed, it gets reduced down to the sound está, está. So that's why in so many phrases that contain the word está, you don't hear está, you hear está, or even tá. For example, tá bem, tá bem. So this means okay or all right then, and lots of my students confuse this for the word também, right? So they're not hearing está bem, which is what they're expecting to hear because that's what it looks like when it's written down. Instead we hear tá bem, because the stress is only going on the bem. So another example, as flores são para mim. As flores são para mim. Now, para is one of those words in that sentence that isn't stressed, so it's being reduced to the sound pra, pra. So if you think about it, this is exactly what we do in English as well, even if we don't realise it. If I were to say that sentence in English, the flowers are for me. The flowers are for me. Now, I'm not stressing every single syllable there, I'm stressing flow, me. Flow, me. So the word for, which isn't stressed, is being reduced to the sound f. The flowers are for me. So if you were learning English, you would probably struggle to hear that sound too. So the Portuguese aren't the only ones who do this. Some more common phrases that are affected by this. Até já becomes te já. Vamos lá becomes vamos lá. O que é que precisa becomes que é que precisa? O que é que precisa? Now, of course, it's going to take time to train your ear to the speed and the sound of native Portuguese, but knowing that this is the case is hopefully going to help you go looking for those hidden words and for it just not become such a shock when words sound so differently to what they look like written down. Of course, it will also help you emulate the way that Portuguese speak on this stress-timed basis, on that rhythm. If you need more tips to help you with your listening, because this is what is going to help you so much in getting to grips with this, you can check out this video here where I give you 3 strategies of how to practice your listening on a day-to-day basis. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you check out the description for more resources and related videos that will help you with your Portuguese. And if you enjoyed this video, why not send it to somebody else who is learning? I am sure they would be grateful for the extra tips. I'll be back with more tips and tutorials next week to help you power up your Portuguese, so make sure you are subscribed and I will see you then. Ciao for now. Beijinhos!